All right. So, first of all, Pooja, make sure that you have shared your updated resume with me because in this particular session, along with the discussion that we do, I would also be reviewing your resume, and if there is something right or wrong, I'll be guiding you on that as well. So make sure that it is shared to me on my email ID, and rest we can start with our discussion, our technical interview round, mock interview round, and the first question that we can have is from, let's say, Python, it would be. And in Python, especially in object-oriented programming using Python, we have different types of methods. What are the different methods available?
I'm not pretty sure about those concepts, sir.
There is something called static method, class method. What about these?
I've heard about that, yes. The static methods are the ones which we cannot, like we cannot change it out of the classes and all, and that can be used within the classes. And the class methods you can recall, and those can be used as the parent and the child class as well.
All right, what else? Do we have any other method? Most important method?
In it,
That is called, like, there is a specific name, instance method.
sorry,
Instance method.
I'm not pretty sure about those concepts, sir. I'm
All
not able
right,
to recall it actually.
all right, all right. So, let's say if we talk about machine learning, conventional machine learning problem, and if I give you a situation wherein, let's say you are from BTech background, you are from engineering
Yes, sir.
background, and if I give you a problem statement from, let's say, industrial, some sort of industry, let's say chemical industry, where we can implement Python and machine learning. Let's say pharmaceutical industry, right? So if I talk about these areas, which are slightly gray areas for us, if we come from engineering background, obviously we have not studied about these areas explicitly. We don't know how drug discovery would work. We don't know how exactly, these compositions of different chemicals work, right? So this is a different area for us. This is a gray area for us, right? Now, if I give you a problem statement from this domain, and if I provide you the like detailed problem statement, I provide you the data set. So what would you do? What would be your first step? Would you
So
start
your
with
voice is not audible.
I'm not audible. Just a second.
बहुत slow है. Is there a disturbance from my
Wi-Fi
end?
looks good. I don't know. Maybe if you can try rejoining because here the network is quite good. Try rejoining if possible.
Sorry,
Try rejoining if possible.
just a second, sir. Sir, I'm audible now.
Am I audible properly?
Yes, sir.
Right. So I was saying that if I give you a problem statement from a gray area, which ideally we are not aware of, right? So again, I provide you the data set, I provide you the detailed problem statement. So what would you be doing? First step would be what? To explore the data, derive the patterns from the data, or you will try to, do some sort of uh, brainstorming on the problem statement. So first thing would be to understand the problem statement better or to do exploratory data analysis. What would be your
First, we
approach?
need to understand the problem statement, and based on that, we need to explore the features, what are affecting or what are the features given in the data set. Without understanding the problem statement, even if we explore the features or the attributes, whatever is there in the data set, it doesn't make any sense. We can understand what kind of data we are representing, but still we need to understand what problem or the hypothesis we need to accept or reject.
All right. All right. Now, because you talked about hypothesis, let me ask you a question from that domain. Let's say when it comes to hypothesis testing, and again, I tell you that there is a problem statement which incorporates multiple samples of different sample size. Let's say sample one is of 20 data points, sample two is of let's say 30 data points, sample three is of let's say 50 data points, something of that sort. So in such a scenario, if I want you to validate the null hypothesis, whether we are supposed to accept it or whether we are supposed to reject it. So what approach can we follow? Which validation technique can we use?
If the number of data points are like a Z test and T test you're asking about.
Like which validation technique would be applicable in this case? Yeah.
Yeah, we can use the Z test.
Think once again. You have multiple samples, not just one sample. Z test
When the
is
data
normally.
points when the data points are more than 30, then we use the T test, or the chi square test and ANOVA test are also there.
Hmm. So which one to use?
As per me, it should be the T test.
T-test is used when your sample size is less than 20 and your sample is 1.
So for one sample, it's it
Out of a big
just
population, out of a big population, you are choosing one sample which is having a sample size of less than 20.
T test you wanna, sir?
There you use T-test.
Yes,
Big population, one sample, more than 30 size, you use
Z
Z.
test.
Here I am asking you are having multiple samples, more than one. One sample here, one sample here, one sample here, multiple samples in one population. Then what do you do?
So Z test, na? If it is more than 30,
More than 30, one sample, then Z test. Here you are having multiple samples. Some of them can be more than 30, some of them can be less than 30 also. Multiple samples. Here the keyword or the catchword is multiple samples. One sample, nahi. One sample you can use Z test, you are right. But more than one, then what do you do?
I don't know.
F test.
F test. Okay, sorry, I didn't heard about that.
Hmm. F test is that same, ANOVA.
ANOVA. Okay, sorry.
All right. So that is something which we have. Now, so you have not covered object-oriented programming at all.
Just the basics, but I really don't remember that.
All right. So maybe you can try out a question. I'll like try and put it in front of you. You can try answering if possible. So when it comes to your Python programming using object-oriented concepts, there is something called um, encapsulation. What do we mean by that?
Converting data one data type into the other one.
That is typecasting.
I really don't remember those concepts.
Okay, okay, fine. What is the difference between a bar graph and a histogram?
Bar graph and the
Histogram.
histogram can be used to define the relationship between the two, like the differentiation. And the bar graph gives you the complete data or the the distribution of the data.
Okay, let me reframe my question. You have a data set which has two columns. One is salary, another is month, month and salary. So, what graph would you prefer? A bar graph or a histogram for representing the data?
If we want to represent or visualize any one of those, we can use this histogram to have the complete representation of a particular feature. Or
Relationship
if
between the two. Relationship or distribution between the two.
then we can use bar graph.
And if I say that you are supposed to compare salary if I say you are supposed to compare the salary with that of your age, then what do you do?
We can use the relational plot
In
or the
between bar
scatter
graph,
plot.
in between bar
Again,
graph.
like if we want to compare anything like two parameters, we should use bar graph.
Every time.
Most of the times, yes. Not all the
Bar,
time.
bar graph is something that you use when you have one numeric variable and one
One
categorical.
category.
So salary and age, both of them are numeric in nature. We
Yeah.
cannot use bar graph here.
So histogram, most of the times we use a single category, right? Single feature or the attribute. So how come like when it like have both the categorical forms, the age and
Both
the
of them are
salary.
numeric. Both of them are numeric. You can use that.
So we can use both the columns. I mean, sorry, both the attributes.
Yeah, yeah. It
Okay.
will either give you a bell-shaped curve or something, like depends on the.
Or it's like if we need to derive the relationship between these two or the linearity or the correlation between these two, we can use the scatter plot and the relational plot also, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. You can, because you talked about correlation, you can even use heat map for that matter.
Yeah.
Achha, because we are talking about correlation, what is the difference between Spearman correlation and Pearson's correlation? Which one is effective? Achha, tell me which one is effective, more effective.
I don't know, sir.
Spearman works better as compared
What
to
it is
Pearson.
actually?
The different correlation techniques that we are having. Whenever we say that we are trying to compare the dependency of one column on top of another, we can calculate the correlation between X and Y variable. So for that, you can use Pearson's or you can use Spearman,
Or
right?
if we have multiple features which are highly
One by
correlated, then
one you will have to do. You will compare one. You will compare one with one. You will compare one with two. You will compare one with three, and so on.
okay. So all the like we need to consider one feature and we need to keep on comparing it with all the other features to find the correlation. And it's
If
a
you
repetitive.
Yeah, if you find that they are correlated, you can create a heat map, and from the heat map you will be getting some insights that okay, these are few columns that are important, and then you can do that, right? So I think that's all from my side. Maybe um, I would be asking few more questions next time when you get prepared for object-oriented programming as well.
That
Yeah.
would be great, sir.
All right. So thank you so much, and kindly share your updated resume with me so that I'll give you some feedback on that as well.
Okay, sure, sir. I'll be sharing it in a while.
All right.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.